see online sometimes. I don't think it's very good, and normally I'd leave it alone. However, I keep seeing this joke over and over, the same as I keep seeing the idea that the Muppets should play D&D, but their characters should be acted out by humans. That's a complete misunderstanding of how the Muppets work. The Muppets work as a modern Marx Brothers when they are used correctly, just as Groucho, Chico, Harpo, and Zeppo are best served helping someone get something rather than just running through gags, so too are the Muppets. That's why Muppet Treasure Island works. They are working in aid of Jim Hawkins.
Jim! You always been a decent sort to old Billy Bones.
But I'm not Jimmy Jim. He's Jimmy Jim.
That's why Muppets from Space doesn't work. Gonzo needs to be a gonzo in support of someone else, not to have an origin story.
Cool.
That'd be like explaining in detail why Harpo runs around with a picture of a horse.
Now think again. Isn't there someone you really and truly love? Is there? Tell me who.
The same annoyance I feel about the misunderstanding of the Muppets and the Marx Brothers' structured anarchy in pursuit of humanity applies to this joke that I am talking about. What joke, you ask? This one. The ham is melted, the turkey is suspended in midair, and the salami is hatching from its own egg. Why did we ever come to the Salvador Dali? As I said, I would normally leave this alone in a live and let live kind of scenario. It's not my kind of humor. But first, that doesn't apparently make good content. And second, this joke really, really annoys me. Here's why. It's not because of the pun. That alone could work, but only if the setup actually worked. The setup itself is the problem. It completely misunderstands the hyper-realist, surreal-tinged work of Salvador Dali. Dali's work is derived from dreams and from a paranoid critical technique. He is all about finding double images and looking at the world in a new way. You can think of this like looking up at the clouds and finding images within them, only this should be applied to everything. Of course, Dali has long been accused of being a gimmick painter. His mastery of technicality was matched by his pursuit of gold, hence his nickname of A Vida Dolores. And it is true that the later paintings were probably faked as he signed his name over and over again while in his infirm state after the passing of his dear Gala. Not to mention his complete support of fascism. His work, however, was based on a personal mythology, reaching back to his traumas and exposing them all. Sometimes this shocked and appalled, as was his Hitler obsession. He was, however, quite right in pointing out that Hitler's own romantic heroes were those who failed and who lost. But the thing that everyone seems to reduce Dali's work to, a painter who discovered that there is a casket underneath the paint in Millet's Angelus, is the soft watches the persistence of memory. That's a painting well parodied over the years in Looney Tunes and later in my favorite Chuck Jones movie, The Phantom Toll Booth.
Don't give you the time you need to have the time of your life.
The time you need
To have the time of your life.
Well, as everyone well known ends up reduced to one thing, so this joke makes sense from a pop culture reference level. Turkey in midair, a reference to the disintegration of the persistence of memory, surely. Dali didn't usually hang things in the air in his painting, by the way. He hung things off of other things and often used literal crutches to prop up his melting images. In addition, the ham melting is a rather crude substitute for the original inspiration of the persisting, a ruddy camembert cheese. I don't know why this rankles me so specifically, but I think if this joke were to work, it would start with accuracy. The cheese is a melted watch. It is not ham. But this joke doesn't think that far ahead. And the last part before the punchline about the salami hatching from its own egg, sausage and egg go together, so there is no real juxtaposition or shock image here. Surrealist humor does not work like this. This is the same problem you heard your high school English teacher talk about when railing against the Alanis Morissette song Ironic. Our culture believes it understands subjects like surrealism, but has confused surreal with strange for the sake of strange. This joke also doesn't work anymore, given that Omega Mart basically does this joke in their meat section already. So you can go to this Salvador Dali, though it is better because it does not try to ape the style of an already existing artist. To be clear, the logic of Buñuel films is a better example of surrealist humor. In The Phantom of Liberty, teachers insist that the girl has disappeared, so she is brought to the police station so they can better identify her. She's there all along, but they act as if she isn't. They see her and interact with her, but she both is and isn't there.
Je les ai comptés à mon tour. J'ai pris la liste nominale et j'ai fait l'appel.
Je n'ai plus confiance dans cette école.
Maman,
Tais-toi, qu'est-ce que tu veux?
je suis là.
In the same film, a dinner party is held, but the guests sit on toilets and sneak off to go to their disgusting act of actually sneaking some eating in.
Et votre voyage en Espagne, à propos?
Oh, très intéressant. Mais...
Quoi?
Nous avons dû rentrer plus tôt que prévu. Oui, dans les rues de Madrid le matin, il y a une odeur absolument écœurante de... Excusez-moi, hein, de nourriture. Pardon, on me sauve la salle à manger, s'il vous plaît.
C'est la dernière porte au fond du couloir à droite, monsieur.
Merci. C'est occupé.
Oh, pardon.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead, and Waiting for Godot use absurd humor that borders on the surrealist to get their points across.
What's the matter with you today?
When?
What?
Are you deaf?
Am I dead?
Yes or no?
Is there a choice?
Is there a God?
Foul. No non-sequiturs. 3-2, 1, game all.
This joke that I'm certainly overreacting to does not. Surrealism is about chance associations and rejecting conventional way of understanding things, trying for a new experience of the world, a secretly Ezra Pound-like modernist project of making things new. This joke doesn't do any of that. It trades on what people assume about surrealism, which is Dali, melty watch. Maybe Magritte, Ernst Miro, or Picasso, if you're lucky, even though some of those painters were only tangentially surrealist. This joke isn't a crime or the worst thing that's ever happened in the world. It's just a joke that misunderstands what it's joking about. It's completely banal. Yet somehow, that annoys me even more. Like and subscribe.